Hey everybody, my name is Danny Condon, and I'm going to talk about ASICs as an asset class. So by embracing this new reality, the core thesis is this is an opportunity for really all participants in the mining ecosystem to have the opportunity to make more money faster. All right, so we're going to unpack that concept and hit a couple case studies in today's presentation. So let's talk about Bitcoin mining today. So first and foremost, Bitcoin mining is a capital-intensive process. In many cases, you have to make significant investments in infrastructure in advance of mining. In all cases, you have to make material or significant investments in ASICs before mining, right? So it's a capital-intensive process. So let's reframe the way we look at ASICs. And historically, they've been looked at as a sunk cost on the ASIC side. You're deploying capital, then you're mining, creating a profit, and eventually the profit in the aggregate exceeds your initial capital investment, and it's a great play, right? Now let's reframe that and think about Bitcoin mining rigs not as a sunk cost, but instead as dividend-paying assets. So the dividend side of this equation is the Bitcoin that's being mined. The asset side of the equation is the ASIC itself, which has a spot value at any given time, right? And that spot value is largely correlated to the price of Bitcoin or hash price more acutely, and a number of other factors we're going to unpack today. Now, the challenge historically is there has not been an easy way to capture the value of that liquidity in the market. So let's look at a couple of common challenges and kind of create a couple different personas here. So the first is of an ASIC buyer, right? The second is of a Bitcoin mining operator. Most Bitcoin mining operators are also ASIC buyers, so these are shared challenges. The first is lead times, right? Bitcoin mining rigs pretty much all roll off a conveyor belt in Asia. They have to get on a plane, maybe a boat, a truck, get to a data center, get deployed, and time is money, right? Lack of transparency. So not all rigs are created equally. Not every S21 is going to hash at the same efficiency as the next S21. And that slippage is money. That's a cost center, right? And then the lack of ASIC resale liquidity, which we're going to really hammer into, is a challenge as well because you got all this capital tied up in the ASIC side, the asset side of your investment, and no way to get liquidity on that side of the, of the play, right? So I'll add one more thing in here for the Bitcoin mining operator. Bitcoin mining operators traditionally have a lack of revenue stream diversity. So the primary revenue stream and profit center is mining Bitcoin. It's virtually impossible to predict exactly what your profit margin is going to be like when mining Bitcoin on a forward-looking basis, right? And there's also hosting, which is predictable. So we'll talk about that a little bit too today. So now what if there was a platform that could mitigate these challenges and simultaneously create multiple incremental opportunities? That's where the Blockware Marketplace comes in. So the Blockware Marketplace is a Bitcoin native platform that enables rigs to become tradable assets, right? It enables anybody to start mining Bitcoin in minutes. And it also integrates with third-party hosting sites so that the broader ecosystem has access to this, to these opportunities and these risk mitigating strategies. I'm going to rip through a couple screenshots real quick to show you what this looks like. So you'll see here, these are S21s owned by Blockware clients mining in one of our owned or partnered data centers. They're online right now, right? If somebody wants to come in and buy these rigs, all they have to do is click buy now. They can look at the asset. They can execute a Lightning invoice or an on-chain transaction, and they are mining Bitcoin. There's no more lead times. And that creates value. It eliminates a cost and it creates value. Complete transparency. I know when I'm buying. I can see how this thing is performing. I can see the serial number. I can see when it was plugged in. That creates value. It eliminates a cost center. It eliminates slippage. And then it also serves as kind of the one-stop shop for managing your mining fleet and seeing how your rigs are performing. All right, so let's look at a couple case studies. There's a lot going on this screen, so I'm going to unpack it a little bit. First case study is of an ASIC buyer buying hosted ASIC rigs in one of Blockware's owned or partnered facilities. And you can see on the left side here, right, my right, your left, This is a client who bought 76 S19K Pros. They spent about $120,000 on the rigs. Then over about a 4-month period, they spent about $40,000 in OpEx and energy, right? And now I want to really orient you to the right side of the screen. So at the top, you can see what kind of return were they able to generate just by mining Bitcoin, the baseline strategy. They were able to generate 62% of their capital returned in just this period. Now, that's a great play. That's an excellent outcome. But if you look at the bottom, now that they have the optionality afforded by the Blockware Marketplace, they're able to execute the option of listing their rigs for sale. So fast forward in translation here, they were able to sell their rigs for a higher price than they initially bought them and mine them for 4.5 months. The result of that is 156% return over that same return of their capital in that same period. And 156% is better than 62%, right? Let's look now at an operator. So this is a case study from one of our operating partners who deployed 1 megawatt of S21s. Same organization of the slide, so I'll kind of rip through this one a little quicker. They deployed $1.2 million between their initial CapEx and their OpEx. They bought these machines well in advance, pre-order from Bitmain, very low cost basis, economies of scale on their pricing. And you can see in the top right, here's what it looks like. Here's their mining returns through that same period. And now because they have the option but not obligation to sell these rigs, they now have the opportunity to do so. And they were able to pull their ROI forward significantly. They could sell their rigs for a significantly higher price than what they bought them at. They're also able to then lock in predictable revenue, right? So they know predictable revenue via hosting, right? So you lock in a hosting contract. You can pull your ROI forward by years in this case. And our marketplace partners are also able to participate in a revenue share, profit share, every time that rig trades, because rigs are now tradable assets. All right, so let's just kind of recap here. Some of the problems: lead times. There's no more lead times. These rigs are online mining Bitcoin right now. When you buy, you're mining. Lack of transparency. You know exactly what you're buying. There's no more ambiguity. You can see, how's this rig performing? And then we've hammered this one, but lack of resale, ASIC resale liquidity. Rigs are now tradable liquid assets for the first time ever, right? And eliminating these challenges represent the elimination of common costs. And by eliminating them, you're creating accretive value for these machines, which when you then have liquidity to be able to execute sale of these machines, you can pull that money forward by a number of years. One thing I'll just hit on real quick also is the lack of revenue stream diversity. That's what we talked about for Bitcoin mining operators. Now you're not unilaterally tethered to hash price. You can make money selling rigs, buying rigs in wholesale, selling them in smaller increments. Markets are efficient, right? You're able to lock in hosting revenue in conjunction with selling machines. You're able to participate in profit share every time those rigs trade again in your data center. And then they also inherit that same, resale liquidity. So just to kind of wrap this up, who is this for, right? Individuals and institutions that are trying to mine Bitcoin. Anybody who wants to buy Bitcoin mining rigs in a capital efficient capacity, this is for you. There's no better, faster, easier, risk mitigated way with significant incremental opportunities to mine Bitcoin than purchasing things that are plugged in online where you know exactly what you're buying. It's also for Bitcoin mining operators and partners, right? So we have a hybrid model where we own and operate data centers, and we also partner with third-party facilities. So if you're a third-party operator, whether you're a self-miner or a host or a combination of both, you have an opportunity to participate in this ecosystem, mitigate these risks, and maximize your opportunity, right? So right at the shot clock here, my name is Danny Condon with Blockware Solutions. We have a booth on the other side over there, so come say what's up if you want to jam. Thank you.